Hey guys, it's Nicole and I'm back with another process video, 2 in 1 week. It's very impressive for me. This first photo shows you all the products that I pulled to use in this layout. However, those Studio Calico arrows that are cork never quite made it onto the project. So here I am starting with some basil cardstock in craft colored because I knew I wanted to keep this layout very organic colors and just outdoorsy colors, things like that. You're going to see me pull this little bag out, see that on my desk, and those keep all my scraps in it, my scraps of paper. So this entire layout was just using scraps from my little scraps container. And what I do is when that container starts to overflow with scraps or leftover papers, I know I need to do a couple projects using those. So I have been making a few cards and layouts using just my scraps. So here I am cutting some papers to just sort of be the base for my photos. These are pictures that I took from an upstairs window and zoom times 7 of my daughter and husband going on a walk in the conservation in our backyard. There's the Hillsborough River, and those trees you see is the conservation area, and that's part of the reason we chose the house we chose, because they can never build on a conservation, so we'll always have privacy in our backyard. And now I'm just sorting through some Amy Tan cut and paste collection die cuts to just figure out what exactly I want to use on this layout to add color. And I also have that little ampersand flare is from October Afternoon 9 to 5 collection. So I knew I wanted to have my title be across that heart at the top, and so I'm just sort of figuring out a layout to do so. And also looking at this little sticker book that's also from the cut and paste collection, excuse me, to see just what I want to do. I knew my battery was running low and I wanted to be able to squeeze this layout in, so I shut my camera off when I went to go do this sewing because you can't see me anyways or my sewing machine. And so just so you know what happened, on the inner square I did a zigzag stitch, and on the outer square I went around it 3 times with a single stitch. So now I'm just pulling up the edges, and that's sort of going to be the basis for my 2 photos. And I also sewed that heart directly on as well. Now I'm sort of committing and laying everything down and just trying to figure out where I want all my embellishments to go. I knew I wanted my title to be Sunday Walking because that's when they go on their walks, and I knew I wanted to say Ray and Dad, and that's where I was going to use the ampersand. So I decided to put that on the bottom of the photos instead of that upper left-hand corner that I kept looking at. This is a container that I keep some of my alpha stickers in, and I was looking for kind of a yellow to match that heart, and so I went with these Snap Collection mini stickers. So I'm just spelling out Ray and Dad, and I wanted it to say Daddy since that's what she calls him, but I didn't have enough D's, so I just stuck with Dad. It wasn't a big deal. Same difference. I just, wanted to keep it consistent, and I didn't have enough letters in that particular color. So I took the back. A lot of the flare from October Afternoon has that black flat back on it, and I took that off and used a dimensional adhesive pop dot to put that ampersand on. And right now, these came in a kit from Scraptastic. It was one of their fall kits. I can't remember the name of it. And these are alphas that I would have never purchased myself, but I'm so glad I got because I absolutely love them. They're those canvas resist letters, and I knew I wanted to spray the word walking in Green Gable, Mr. Huey, because it just had that nice outdoorsy color. And so here I am just spraying them to get the level of tone that I wanted. I didn't want them to be too green, but I wanted it to soak in a little bit, and I still wanted you to see those stripes. So I just sprayed them there, and now I'm pulling them off the paper towel. Put them on some wax paper so they wouldn't stick on my desk, and then I also wanted to heat them a little bit, and I knew the wax paper would kind of keep them still if they were stuck with the adhesive on the back. I'm not sure if I think I already, oh no, there I go, drying them. And I wasn't sure if I wanted them on dimensional adhesive or if I was going to glue them down with my glossy accents, but I think I do end up using dimensional adhesive. I knew I was going to stamp the word Sunday using a Studio Calico stamp that you'll see later, so There it is. And so I wanted the walking to sort of be aligned to the right so that you could see the word Sunday. And I was going to do that stamping that I like to do where I stamp it once and then 2 more times without even inking up the stamp. And I just love the way that that turns out. It's one of my favorite techniques. So I'm putting the stamp back. I must have just cleaned it. And I fuss with these letters a little bit now because I'm cutting out dimensional adhesive so that when the tops of them that's on the cardstock in the background is up a little bit more than the bottom part that sits on the sewed 2 pieces of paper. And then after I put it on, I don't even like how high up it is. I decide to lower them so that you could see the word Sunday. So this was quite a process, and I found that when I took the letters off to move them, it ripped the yellow heart a little bit, but since the heart is already distressed on the upper left-hand side, I didn't really care that it ripped it. I thought it looked kind of cool since I was going for an organic feel anyways. So now you just see me kind of going through that process here, and I'm just cutting that roll of dimensional adhesive, and I get that for $1.50 a roll at Big Lots. Yeah, Big Lots, and so I usually buy like 10 rolls at a time because it's just nice to have on hand. So here when I put down this W is where I figure out that I don't like the placement of it and it's covering too much of the word Sunday. I'm taking a look at it and saying, no, this doesn't look good. And so now I'm scooting it all down and adjusting. And sometimes you just have to do that in scrapbooking to get it the way that you want it. So I'm still fussing with these letters. You can see where I ripped it, but I wasn't too concerned. I mean, most of it was covered by the alphabet or the alphabet letters anyways, but no big deal. You can still see some of the tearing, and I thought it looked just fine in the end. And I failed to mention that that background wood paper is from Crate Paper Emma's shop. It's a very old collection from a few seasons ago. And then that paper that's directly behind the photos is from this most recent October afternoon autumn collection. I can't remember the name of it. Let me see if I have it on my paper here. It's October afternoon. Nope, I didn't write the name down. I left it blank because I knew that I had already cut off the name of that, and so I wanted to go look it up later. So now I'm adding another heart to just draw your eye to the same orangey red that's in the ampersand. And I have these basic gray, I don't know the name of the collection, it's their transportation collection that was out a few months ago, quite a while ago actually. And I had just a few of these brads left that I didn't get an opportunity to use. And one of them has like a little arrow and the other one has like a crosswalk sign. So I thought those were perfect for this layout that was about walking. And so I'm just making 3 little clusters of brads, one with a picture on it, and then the other 2 are just plain smaller brads that are just a solid color. Just taking a look again at some of the embellishments I pulled. I haven't gotten a chance to use these, so I was really looking forward to using some of these Amy Tan kind of dimensional, thicker looking pieces. So I end up using this arrow, and I'm just putting an arrow to point to each of the Sundays. And with that top arrow says the word smile, and I just thought it was cute that it said Smile Sunday Walking because they enjoy going on their walks. That little green sticker that you see me sticking down is from Fly Kite Collection by October Afternoon, and it says, "What a day for a daydream. It's one of those days for taking a walk outside." So I thought it was perfect for this layout. That sticker right there was from the Stella Rose collection, My Mind's Eye, and it says, "Oh So Lovely." And I'm thinking about using these clouds. That's another product that I pulled that I didn't end up using. I don't know, I didn't feel that they were appropriate for this layout, so I didn't go with them. So now I'm adding some brads in, but before I do so, I knew I wanted to bring some of that green color from the title down to the bottom there, so I end up choosing these little leaves to put on the layout, and then I'm going to overlap my brads on top of it. So I'm laying these here. And while this is happening, I just want to forewarn you that a big tragedy is going to happen on my layout here in a few seconds. I accidentally drop a sticker onto one of the photos and it just totally destroys the photo, and so I have to deconstruct my layout and figure out a way to fix it after printing a new photo. But as a result of that, I only had so much battery, so fixing that just didn't allow time for you to see probably like the last 3 minutes of my layout. You'll probably see 98% of it and miss 2%, but I do have still shots at the end so that you could see greater detail. So now I'm looking for a paper in my scraps to put a little piece of green up at the top of the layout. I knew I wanted to bring that green to the top, and so here I picked this cauldron paper from October Afternoon, their Halloween, the Witch Hazel collection from last year. And I pick a piece out and I'm going to lay it across the top, and then that washi tape you see sitting there is from Sherry, who's T-Share in Japan, sent me that in a rack from Japan, and it's MT brand. And it's just the perfect colors that matches both the hearts on the layout. So I'm adding a little piece of that to the top, and I knew I wanted a label sticker to put up there because I wanted to stamp an Allie Edwards stamp. So I'm looking for kind of something to be a label sticker, and I finally find one. I think I move on to doing something else because I couldn't find something that I liked. And then when I end up finding one, I go to cut it in half and I drop it on my photo. So yeah, I moved on to adding these little leaves over on this side, and I really like the way that that turned out. And since I sewed the paper already, I had to cut off the tips of the stems so that it could just tuck right under there. And here in this little sticker book, I find the label that I like, and as I'm cutting it, I drop it right on the photo. And the biggest pain was that I had already put in brads and all kinds of other stuff. So you can see it just leaves a big mark over there on my photo. So I eventually take a picture of where everything was laying, and then I just get to work trying to fix it on my current layout. So that eats up some of the time in my battery, and I apologize that you'll be missing stuff. But I'll show you some photos at the end, and I'm glad I was able to do yet another process video. It's rare that I'll be able to do 2 in 1 week just because it takes so much time for me to edit it and do things like that. So enjoy this moment that you had 2 in 1 week, and thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and there'll be some still shots at the end so that you could get a better look at the finished product. Talk to you soon. Bye.